So I've played Survivor before twice. This was the first time in 3 seasons that I've won immunity. But not only did I win immunity, I won it 3 times in a row. So it was a bunch of mixed emotions because, usually when somebody wins 1 or 2 challenges, they're targeted as a challenge beast. We've seen it plenty of times over and over again. I mean, I know I'm not a challenge beast, but once I win 1 or 2 in a row, people got to start saying, uh-oh, this guy won twice. So he's definitely capable of winning another one. So it was mixed emotions. I was extremely happy that I won. Obviously, the first one, I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my goodness, and especially the challenge that I did win was bananas because that was a game of patience. Moving that slow with that rope. I don't know how I did it, but usually I don't like to move that slow with things. I just don't have the patience for it. But yeah, it was great. It was great winning. I won 4 in a row actually this season, which is great. Well, one I had to pay a token for it, which was worth it. But nevertheless, I wore that necklace 4 times. My favorite moment of this season was, I have a lot of favorite moments, but I have to say, I know it's not, some people might look at it as it's just something crazy or funny, but I have to say my favorite moment was discovering a tree that was right above the water well, which allowed me to build a spy nest. Oh my goodness, a spy nest? That's like next level Survivor playing. Spying on people from above. Oh man, that was amazing. That had to be my favorite moment. I felt pretty bad with all the blind sides I was involved in. But while feeling bad for them, I definitely don't regret them. Obviously, I had to do what I had to do to get to where I was. So I didn't regret any of the blind sides that I did or I was involved in, but I definitely was not too happy with it because, you hurt people, and these people, I've watched them play on TV. So it's like you kind of know them, So it felt bad blindsiding them, but again, I don't have any regrets with the blind sides I did. I played an honest game as much as I could, and I played a dishonest game also at the same time, but it's not, the way I play Survivor, I don't go into the game thinking of what I should do or what I can do. I go into the game and I address the situation accordingly. So if I'm in the moment that I have to lie to somebody, I'm gonna lie to them. If I have to be honest with them, I'll be honest with them. But that's how I play the game of Survivor. So I have, there was a lot of times where I was really honest, heart-to-heart talks with a lot of those people out there, especially with family. We talked a lot about kids and family and values, and I was honest with a lot of people with strategy. I had heart-to-hearts with Sarah talking about the game. I was honest with that. But sometimes I had to lie to them, and it's the game. But I definitely toned it down much more than I did in Cagayan. In Cagayan, I was just dishonest the whole time. At least this season, I was half honest, half dishonest, which worked out for me. Making it to Final 3 without Sarah, it was heartbreaking. We all saw the raw emotion, I don't know if it would have been bad for me going with Sarah because Sarah is a phenomenal player. She's great at what she does. We played totally different games, like she pointed out in the season, but we're both very good at the game, and it might have been tough for me at the end with Sarah, but again, it was heartbreaking at the moment that I beat her in fire. I was hurt. I was devastated. I was crushed. I really wanted to sit down at the Final 3 with Sarah. We made that pact 6 years ago in Cagayan when we sat down by the fire, and I said, Sarah, you know what? I am a cop. When I revealed the truth to her that I was a cop in our first season by the fire, and she was telling me, she was like, really, dude? And she was like, imagine both of us sitting at the end. And I was like, yeah, right? Cops are us sitting at the end. That was 6 years ago. That was a conversation we had 6 years ago. Imagine if that would have came true 6 years later on this season. And that's what we wanted to do, and we were fighting hard for it. And unfortunately, for her, once again, she was out of the game before I was. So I was heartbroken, but it's the game, and we both know it's the game, so it is what it is. I believe that my gameplay was drastically different from all the other castaways. I knew, partly because I won one time and I lost the second time, so I knew what I had to do to meet that balance between winning and losing, put them together and come up with a combination where it got me to the end. Part of that was being quiet, not trying to show people that I was strategic, not showing people that I was trying to take power, take control of the game in the beginning. Because in the beginning, you have a lot of people and there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen. So if you have 3 or 4 chefs telling you this is the ingredient you need to use, you go with it because you don't want to go against that. So again, a lot of my play in the beginning, in the first half of the season, I didn't want to trigger any flashbacks of people remembering how I played in Cagayan. So I would come up to them and I would talk to them, and whatever they told me, I was like, okay, I agree with that, no problem. You know, just to show them that I didn't want control, to show them that I didn't want to play in a power position, that I was just going to go along with them. And that's hard to do, especially from a player like me. I don't like, I like to lead. I like to take control of a game. I like to be the most influential person when it comes to what's best for my game. I don't want anybody else to dictate how I'm going to play the game. But in the first half, I had to go along with it. And that's what I did, and it worked out perfectly for me. So that's the only thing that I knew I had to do coming into the season, and that was to play under the radar. Just for the first half of it, again, when I got spanked in Game Changers, when I went out there the first 3 days, I was trying to, you know, just act funny and run around so people could just look at me and say, oh, this guy's a joke, leave him alone. It didn't work out. They knew better than that, and they got rid of me, which I believe was a very smart thing for them to do, to get rid of me, because as you've seen this season, it worked for me in the beginning, where I was building ladders, I was having fun, laughing, I wasn't trying to control anything, I was just being goofy, I was just being, you know, just being fun, just having, you know, being a fun person to be around instead of a scary person to be around. And that was my strategy going into the game, and I did so good with that. That's a strategy you can only do so much of. I mean, you can't win the game with just following somebody. You can maybe, but that's not how I play the game. I play the game to win the game. And the way I play to win is by taking control, influencing the votes, dictating the game for me, pretty much. If I need to make moves that I know are gonna work for me, I don't go into the game thinking of resume. I don't do that. Not once do I think about building a resume. I just don't do that. I play the best game that I can play, and when I get to the end, if I get to the end, this is my game. Let it speak for me. This is what I did. My game's gonna speak for me. I'm not gonna speak for it. I'm gonna do the best that I can do without trying to build a resume. I don't go into the game with that, because when you try to build a resume, your timing is usually off. You're making a move just to put in your resume, which might not work out for you. The moves I make are dependent on me moving forward and getting rid of the people that I feel fearful for. And that's how I play the game. I don't play it to build resumes. I play it to try to get ahead. Each tribal, I want to get ahead each time I vote somebody off. Throughout the game, right from the day one, I guess, on Dakal, on the tribe that I was with, Sophie seemed to have a lot of power. She seemed to be very intelligent, on top of being very strategic with the game. You know, because you can have somebody that's very smart, but doesn't mean they're strategic with the game, you know? So, but Sophie had it all. She was just great right from the beginning. You can tell she commanded respect. You just can tell she was just strong-willed, powerful woman. I tell you, I seen how she was just talking to people, how people, including myself, I was like, wow, Sophie, really? And she's just powerful, very powerful. And when I seen how she was doing with the challenges, with the puzzles, she was carrying her team most of the time. I was like, wow, this girl is a threat. She might not be seen as a big threat coming into the game. She will be, though, the next time she plays. And that's the difference, because I specifically categorize people with big threats and lower threats from perception, from what people know coming into the game. And Sophie was not one of those so-called lions coming into the game. You know, that's the perception of people watching. And that's what they would think. Oh, Sophie's not a huge threat. But Sophie's a huge threat. She was from day one, and she was all the way till I had to pull a blindside on her. I needed to do that, or else she would have cleaned up shop. She would have got rid of everybody. So I had to do that. Once I seen how powerful she was getting, that was it for me. That was enough to open my eyes up. And that under the radar stuff went out the window. It was time to play.